Hello everyone, hope you're doing good. Welcome to our channel Pi Wizard. This is Sambit and this is the fourth video in the series of 500 videos that we aim to make for covering Python concepts and a few projects to give you the intermediary level of proficiency that we have promised. So let's start with flow control, Boolean expression operators and comparison operators today. Flow control statements basically decide the order in which the program code is going to execute. There are various kinds of flow control statements like if statement, while statements, for loops that can be used to change and control the flow. You just need to basically remember this concept. Once we get to a point where we solve examples, you'd be able to understand this. So what is a Boolean expression? An expression that results in a Boolean value rather than a numeric value is basically a Boolean expression. So understand Boolean as a concept is very unique. Boolean can have its own expression, it can have its own values, and since every value belongs to a data type, so there is a data type that is also called as Boolean data type. So for example, these kind of expressions would be called as Boolean expressions because they evaluate to Boolean values which is true or false. Okay. The next is Boolean data type. The Boolean data type, remember, always has only two values, which is true or false. And the uniqueness of Boolean values is that they always start with capital T or F. There is one more thing that we need to take a note of, that is true or false are keywords, and as described in the earlier videos, keywords cannot be used as variables. So if you try and assign any value to true or false, you'll start getting a error like this saying that cannot assign it to true. So Python basically has three kinds of operators as well, which are AND, OR, and NOT operator. These are also referred to as logical operators. The reason they are referred to as logical operators is because there is a certain logic on the basis of which they give a result, which is there on the table, and we'll come to that later. But one thing you need to understand is that and or are binary operators that perform the operation on two operands. That is, they require two operands to perform the operation, whereas not is a unary operator and it requires only one operand. Now, what is the logic that is followed? If both the operands evaluate to true, then AND operator would give you true. OR operators gives you true only if at least one is true, and NOT operator gives you true when it is evaluating something that is false. That is, if something is not false, then it is true, and if something is not true, then it evaluates to false. Now, before we start looking at Boolean operators and examples relevant to them, let us first look at what are comparison operators. Comparison operators are basically used to compare values and they evaluate down to a Boolean value. Okay. Now, for example, this expression here is a equal to operator, and it is true if both operands are equal. This is not equal to. It is true if both are unequal. This is less than true. It is true if the first operand is less than the second. Greater than is true when the first operand is greater than the second operand. Less than equal to is true if the first operand is less than or equal to the second, and greater than equal to is if the first operand is greater than or equal to the second. Now, comparison operators evaluate to Boolean values as mentioned in the previous slide. Hence, they can be used in combination with Boolean operators. Now, let us see a few Boolean expressions where logical operators and comparison operators both are used. Okay. As I said, true and true evaluates to true. So let's see here, 5 less than 8 evaluates to true, and 7 greater than 5 also evaluates to true. So this evaluates to true as well. 4 not equal to false evaluates to false, and 5 not equal to 5 evaluates to false. So false and false evaluates to false. Again, 2 is equal to 1 is false, or 3 is equal to true is true. But in a OR expression, if one value evaluates to true, then it will evaluate to true based upon its logic that I had shown earlier. So this expression basically evaluates to true. So always remember, comparison operators and Boolean operators can be used in combination. Comparison operators is what I've mentioned, and less than, greater than, not equal to, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to. Whereas Boolean operators are and, or, and not. And always remember, these are logical operators and there is a certain logic to it based on which they behave. Uh, Always remember, there is a subtle difference between this operator where we have two equal to's and this operator where we have a single equal to. This operator is equal to compares the values of two operands the way it is doing it here. Whereas this single equal to operator in Python is the assignment operator and it assigns the values to a variable. For example, Sanket is equal to 5. When you do assign the value, and let's say Sanket is a variable, and you're trying to assign the value 5 to Sanket, then you will be using the equal to operator. Cool. This is what we have for Boolean and comparison operators for this session. In the next session, we'll cover if else, while and for loops, continue and break statements, and importing modules. Basically, we'll be covering the rest of the flow control statement chapter. Thank you. Have a great day.